Hello and welcome to this video about the economy of India. In this video we will emphasize the historical trajectory of the economy and its recent development. Subsequently, we will look at the favorable and unfavorable terms that influence the economic development. Based upon that we will elaborate in more detail the economic indicators like growth and growth prospects, inflation, public debt levels, and the current account balance. As already indicated, to better understand the current state and outlook of the Indian economy, let's delve into the economic trajectory over the course of the recent decades. The trajectory of the Indian economy from the 19th century onwards can be broadly divided into three distinct phases: the colonial period, the post-independence period, and the economic reforms era. Here's an overview of each phase. Colonial period, 19th century, 1947. During the 19th century, India was under British colonial rule, and the economy was largely agrarian-based, with traditional industries such as textiles and handicrafts. The British Raj introduced policies that favoured the interests of the British Empire, leading to the exploitation of India's resources and hindering the growth of indigenous industries. The British implemented economic policies such as the extraction of raw materials, the imposition of high tariffs on Indian goods, and the promotion of British industries at the expense of Indian manufacturers. These policies disrupted traditional economic systems and resulted in deindustrialization, leading to economic stagnation and poverty in many regions. Post-independence period, 1947 to 1991. India gained independence from British rule in 1947, and the country adopted a planned economy model with a focus on self-sufficiency, industrialization, and state intervention. The government implemented 5-year plans to guide economic development, with an emphasis on agricultural reforms, land redistribution, and the establishment of public sector industries. During this period, India faced significant challenges, including widespread poverty, low industrialization, food shortages, and limited infrastructure. The government pursued import substitution policies, imposing high tariffs and restrictions on imports to promote domestic industries. However, these policies led to inefficiencies, a lack of competitiveness, and limited integration with the global economy. Economic reforms era, 1991 onwards. In 1991, India faced a severe balance of payments crisis, leading to a significant turning point in economic policy. The government initiated a series of economic reforms aimed at liberalizing the economy, attracting foreign investment, and integrating with the global market. The reforms included the dismantling of industrial licensing, reduction in trade barriers, deregulation of industries, and the opening up of sectors to foreign investment. This period, often referred to as the liberalization, privatization, and globalization era, marked a shift towards a more market-oriented approach. Since the 1990s, India has experienced accelerated economic growth, averaging around 6 to 7% per year. The services sector, particularly information technology and business process outsourcing, has emerged as a significant contributor to GDP growth. Private enterprise, entrepreneurship, and foreign direct investment have played key roles in driving economic expansion. However, challenges such as poverty, income inequality, job creation, and infrastructure gaps remain. The government continues to implement various initiatives to address these challenges and foster sustainable and inclusive economic development. It's important to note that the trajectory of the Indian economy is a complex and multifaceted subject, and this overview provides a simplified perspective on the major phases and changes over time. Since we are now familiar with the recent developments, what are some favorable characteristics that enable growth of the economy? Several factors contribute to the growth and development of the Indian economy. Here are some key factors that have been beneficial to the Indian economy. Demography, or the so-called demographic dividend. India has a large and young population, with a significant portion entering the workforce every year. This demographic dividend provides a potential labor force, which, if skilled and employed effectively, can drive economic growth and productivity. Growing middle class. The expansion of India's middle class has created a significant consumer market, driving demand for goods and services. This rising middle class is contributing to increased domestic consumption, stimulating various sectors of the economy, including retail, FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, and automobiles. Information technology and services. India has emerged as a global leader in the information technology and services sector. The country has a vast pool of skilled IT professionals and has become a preferred destination for outsourcing and offshoring services, such as software development, IT consulting, and business process outsourcing. Services exports. Besides IT and software services, India has a significant presence in other service sectors such as engineering, healthcare, tourism, education, and financial services. The export of services generates foreign exchange earnings and contributes to the country's economic growth. Natural resources and agriculture potential. India is rich in various natural resources, including coal, iron ore, manganese, bauxite, and natural gas. These resources provide a base for industries such as steel, power generation, and mineral processing, contributing to economic development and export potential. Despite the shift towards industrialization and services, agriculture still plays a crucial role in the Indian economy. India has diverse agroclimatic conditions, enabling the production of a wide range of agricultural products. The sector has the potential for increased productivity, value addition, and export opportunities. Entrepreneurial spirit. India has a vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem, with a culture of innovation and startup development. The country has witnessed the rise of numerous successful startups across various sectors, including technology, e-commerce, fintech, and healthcare. This entrepreneurial spirit fuels job creation, innovation, and economic growth. Manufacturing and industrial potential. India possesses significant manufacturing and industrial potential. Among other things, the Make in India initiative, launched in 2014, aims to promote manufacturing and transform India into a global manufacturing hub. The country has been attracting investments in sectors such as automobiles, electronics, pharmaceuticals, and textiles. On the other hand, what are the characteristics and aspects that actually limit the growth prospects? India faces several factors that constrain its economic development. Here are some key factors that pose challenges to the Indian economy. Income inequality and social and cultural constraints. India grapples with significant income and wealth inequality. The disparity between the rich and poor, as well as the rural-urban divide, hinder inclusive growth and can lead to social and economic instability. Social and cultural factors, such as caste-based discrimination, gender inequality, and limited access to education for marginalized communities, can impede inclusive growth and hinder the full participation of all segments of society in economic activities. Institutional weaknesses like regulatory and bureaucratic challenge as well as corruption, cumbersome regulations, bureaucratic inefficiencies, and red tape can create obstacles for businesses and investors. Complex and time-consuming procedures for permits, licenses, and clearances can discourage investment, hinder ease of doing business, and impede economic growth. Corruption and inadequate governance can undermine economic development by increasing the cost of doing business, distorting market mechanisms, and reducing trust in institutions. Transparent and efficient governance is crucial for creating an enabling environment for economic growth. Poverty and informal economy. Despite progress in poverty reduction, a large proportion of the Indian population still lives in poverty. The informal economy, which includes unregulated and low productivity sectors, employs a significant portion of the workforce and poses challenges for formal job creation, productivity improvement, and income growth. That also considers the Indian education system, which faces challenges in providing quality education and developing relevant skills for the job market. There is a mismatch between the skills demanded by employers and those possessed by job seekers, leading to a shortage of skilled workers in certain sectors. Infrastructure deficit. While there have been significant infrastructure developments in recent years, India still faces a substantial infrastructure deficit. Inadequate transportation networks, power shortages, and limited access to quality healthcare and education infrastructure can hamper economic activities and hinder competitiveness. Access to finance. Many small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs, in India struggle to access adequate finance, limiting their growth potential. Improving access to affordable credit, especially for startups and SMEs, is vital for fostering entrepreneurship and job creation. Addressing these constraints requires sustained efforts in policy reforms, infrastructure development, social inclusion, skill enhancement, and effective governance. The Indian government has been implementing various initiatives to tackle these challenges and foster inclusive and sustainable economic development. There are several key metrics used to assess the performance of the Indian economy. Some of the crucial ones include the following. Gross Domestic Product, or GDP. India has one of the world's largest economies in terms of GDP. GDP measures the total value of goods and services produced within the country's borders in a specific period. It is an important indicator of economic activity. India has experienced significant GDP growth in recent years, although the growth rate has varied over time. India has seen both high and moderate GDP growth rates in recent years, with fluctuations influenced by various factors such as global economic conditions, domestic policies, and structural reforms. Inflation rate. The inflation rate measures the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is increasing over time. It is an important indicator of the purchasing power of money. India has generally targeted maintaining moderate inflation. The Reserve Bank of India, RBI, implements monetary policies to manage inflation within a specified range. Unemployment rate. The unemployment rate represents the percentage of the labor force that is unemployed and actively seeking employment. India faces challenges in generating sufficient employment opportunities for its growing workforce. The unemployment rate can vary across regions, sectors, and demographic groups. Fiscal deficit. The fiscal deficit is the difference between a government's total expenditure and its total revenue, excluding borrowing. It indicates the extent to which a government needs to borrow to meet its expenditure. India has targeted reducing its fiscal deficit to maintain fiscal discipline and sustainability. Current account balance. The current account balance measures the net flow of goods, services, investment income, and transfer payments between India and the rest of the world. It reflects the country's trade balance and its ability to meet external obligations. India has generally had a current account deficit, meaning that its imports exceed its exports, resulting in a net outflow of foreign exchange. Part of the deficit is due to strong foreign direct investment, or FDI. FDI represents the investment by foreign entities in the domestic economy. It plays a crucial role in promoting economic growth, technology transfer, and job creation. India has been actively promoting FDI through various policy initiatives in sectors like manufacturing, infrastructure, and services. Exchange rate. The exchange rate measures the value of one currency in relation to another. In the case of India, the exchange rate is the value of the Indian rupee against major international currencies like the US dollar. The exchange rate can influence international trade, capital flows, and inflation. These macroeconomic indicators provide a snapshot of the overall health and performance of the Indian economy. Thank you very much for your attention. We would be happy to see you next time and keep in touch.